Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another review, another stem cell clinic review. And so once again, I want to reiterate, as I have in the other videos, I did not receive treatment at any of these clinics. I'm reviewing them based on my consultation, pricing, protocol, just general vibe that I got from speaking to whoever I spoke to. And I also am using the term stem cell clinic loosely because a lot of these clinics, they do stem cells, but they also do some other treatments. So just keep that in mind when as I'm doing this review. So this is actually one of my more recent consultations, because I started doing consultations again. The first set of consultations that I did was at the end of 2021. In the fall of 2021, I started getting serious about doing stem cells. As you guys know, I did not move forward with stem cells. I did exosomes, and I did exosomes here in the US, and it did not go well. Check out my exosomes playlist for more information on that. So I decided to jump back in to the doing consultations with stem cell clinics, but now I was doing consultations with clinics that offered a wider variety of treatments, because obviously I was already told not to do stem cells or exosomes again, so I'm looking for other types of treatments. So this place is called Immunotherapy Regenerative Medicine. The primary doctor his name is Dr. Ernesto Romero Lopez. He's not your treating doctor from what I'm seeing. He's like the guy that manages the clinic, or the main doctor there. But I don't think he's the one that actually does your treatment. So I did not have my consultation with him. Now you're going to be talking to two people when you first make contact with them. And again, for whatever reason, some of these clinics have issues with their websites, with their email. I don't even know. If they have a WhatsApp, I don't know how to pronounce it, WhatsApp. If they have a WhatsApp contact them through there, because for whatever reason, they will have an email, email us, contact us today for your free, consultation, and it just doesn't work. So try to use WhatsApp if you can, or call their phone number, because for whatever reason they have weird issues. So I could not submit a request through their online form, so I eventually went through WhatsApp and was able to get through to Diego. Diego is your first point of contact at this clinic. Now I'm gonna say, as far as consultation, speaking to someone, that kind of thing, this clinic has got it figured out. Diego's your first point of contact. Diego's a really nice guy. He's a chatty guy. He is, I'm going to tell you right now, he's a salesman. He's a salesperson. I feel like he might be American. He's not American as in he's a white guy. He's a Mexican guy, but his English was really, really good. He almost had kind of an accent here from Los Angeles. I got the vibe that he's probably from here, but moved out there, and he works at that clinic. He didn't have the heavy accent that I'm accustomed to when I speak to Mexican doctors. And he also gave that vibe of I'm a salesman, I'm giving you the facts, very friendly, very you feel really comfortable with him. He's let me put it this way, he seems like a fun guy. if I was just hanging out with someone, this guy seems like a fun guy. He's really cool, just hey, I'm a cool guy, right? So he kind of does pull you in, and he did kind of pull me in that way, and I think he's very good at doing that, and that's why he's your first point of contact. And from what I read with the reviews of this clinic, he's your first point of contact, but he's also I don't know if he coordinates your treatment, because it seems like the people that left reviews, they mention him a lot. So I know there's also a driver. I'll get to that as well. But I don't know if he's the guy that, like greets you every time you're there, or I don't know, but he seems like he's the guy that's like there coordinating your care and getting you where you need to go. I did not. He was my first point of contact. He set up the consultation. He's the one that asked and requested my medical records, stuff like that. So I sent them to him, and I guess he's the one that forwards everything to the doctor. The doctor that I had a consultation with is Dr. I'm looking for him here on their website, because there's the main guy, the main doctor that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. He's probably in his 50s. I would say maybe his 50s, maybe getting close to 60. He's an older, not an old gentleman, but he looks like he's an older gentleman. The other two doctors are young, probably younger than me. I'm 38. These other guys look like they're probably in their 30s, early to mid 30s. They don't look like they're close, like they're 40 yet. So my consultation was with one of these younger doctors, and I wish I had his name, but it was not with the main doctor that's the head of the clinic. So Dr. Rosas, Dr. Manuel Rosas was the guy that I had the consultation with. So it's him. There's another doctor who's a male. I did see on their Instagram that they do have a female doctor, but it was like one Instagram post. So I don't think they have an actual female doctor. It's two male doctors, and the main doctor is a male doctor as well, which again, I'm not too thrilled with, given my past experience with male doctors. So Dr. Rosas was the one that did my consultation. The consultation was pretty long from what I can remember. I think it was a half hour at least, but it might have gone over. He listened to everything. He had reviewed all of my blood work. I felt like I didn't really get a lot of feedback from him though. This is a vibe that I got from him. The vibe that I got from him was that he was lost, because I sent a ton of blood work, a lot of blood work. Either he was lost or he's too young or something. I don't know. I just got this vibe that he was not sure what to do with me. He did listen to everything I had to say. I told him about all of my issues, that I've tried exosomes already, and that didn't go well. I gave him the lowdown, and he was listening to me, but didn't really I don't recall him saying much. And I think he even mentioned some stuff like, when you do our treatments, you're going to feel really, really sick in the beginning. You're not going to feel very, very well. And he mentioned something about biofilms, which again is another Lyme disease buzzword. There's a lot of talk about biofilms, that protect the bacteria, and that's why you can't kill the bacteria and all of this stuff. So that kind of put me off to it, because again, Lyme disease is very complex, and that also insinuates again that I do have an infection, which may or may not be the case. But if that's already kind of, they're going into it when I've told them I've done the long-term antibiotics, I've done the exosomes, I've done a lot of stuff, and they're still kind of like, well, there's biofilms. I don't like hearing the Lyme disease buzzwords, because we've heard it, and again, the science is very incomplete. So that kind of was like, I don't know. And then of course him just kind of being silent. He felt a little passive. And it's funny because I look at him and I'm like, he looks kind of like he's a passive kind of guy. Obviously, I don't want a doctor that's too aggressive. And I spoke about another doctor like that in another review. But I also don't want my doctor to be too passive. And like I said, he's young. And actually, he seems like the younger of the two young doctors. So he looks even younger than the other one. So I was like, he might not be... He just might not have enough experience, or, maybe this is not his specialty, which I will talk about in a little bit. So he did give me that vibe, that he just, maybe like a lack of confidence. Like he just wasn't too confident about whether he could treat this. So it was a good consultation. Like I said, a very, very streamlined process. And from what I'm seeing here, they also provide transportation to and from wherever you're staying. So, not only do you have, Diego's coordinating your care, and then you have your doctor doing the treatments, you also have someone, a driver, that picks you up and drops you off at the clinic and then takes you back, which is really nice because if you're not feeling well after your treatments, at least you don't have to struggle to find an Uber or to walk or whatever. And I think the driver is included in the cost of your treatment, and I will tell you why in a second because it's expensive. So everything was very, very well coordinated, fast. I spoke to Diego. He scheduled my consult. I think I had the consult within a couple of days. Had the consult with Dr. Rosas. That went very well. And then I think within a day, I had my treatment protocol as well as an estimate, a cost estimate. Of all of the, there are a couple clinics that never gave me anything, that never gave me an estimate or a treatment protocol. And one of the reasons why I believe that is because it was very expensive. This place did give me a treatment protocol and an estimate. The estimate was around $30,000. And these are American dollars. And the treatment protocol, granted, the treatment protocol had a lot of things in it. I believe that they were going to do stem cells, they were going to do exosomes, and we know that those are very, very costly treatments. They were going to do plasmapheresis. The one thing I noticed was that they were going to do like one treatment of plasmapheresis and then like one 10-pass ozone, and that's it. And then there was like daily IVs, like daily vitamin IVs. And then, it was like a 2-week protocol, like 10 days or something like that. And it said like daily IV. And I was like, what? Every single day I'm going to be doing vitamin IVs? And if you know anything about, vitamin IVs, it's got like vitamin C, it's got all the vitamins. But if you do a lot of vitamin C, you'll end up getting diarrhea, right? And again, given that, Lyme disease patients are so sensitive to everything, it's like you might not want to do that every single day. And it literally said daily. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a lot, right? It did seem there were some other things too in there. Like they create this like vaccine, and you get to take it with you. So they create this like vaccine, I think from like your own blood or something. I don't know. It was just weird. I was like, I've heard of it before, but I was like, I've never heard of this for Lyme disease. For Lyme disease or any kind of like inflammatory situation. And then they give you a supply, like a 6-month supply to take home with you so that you do your own injections. And I was like, all right. So obviously the cost was insane. I mean, for the cost, let me put it this way. If I had, limitless money, and if I knew my body could tolerate it, I would do it. Because like I said, they provide you with transportation. It's every single day, IVs, all of these expensive treatments, and you're getting it all in one package, all in one place. So yeah, I mean, the cost is I felt like the cost was probably appropriate. Here's the other thing though. This clinic, the vibe that I'm getting from it, because there are a couple of clinics and I did consults with both. There are some holistic clinics that treat cancer. And there are 3 in Puerto Vallarta, and I've done consultations with all of them. This is one of them. And typically, holistic cancer treatments start at around $30,000. So I think that's their specialty. And holistic cancer treatments have a tendency to be very aggressive. Even though they're using a holistic protocol and they're using maybe like more natural things, they do tend to be very aggressive. We're talking high dose vitamin C. We're talking high doses of like herbal types of things, very high doses in order to kill off the cancer. And, people with cancer, even though you have cancer, I think your body can tolerate a lot more than a person that has Lyme disease, right? That has, inflammation, histamine issues, mast cell issues. So that I did get the vibe when I saw this protocol. I got the vibe that this was a very heavy-handed protocol. So I did look at it and I was like, listen, if I could do it, I would do it, because I found Diego to be just very, very nice, very friendly. He seems like somebody that was going to be on top of it. He was not going to let anything be missed. He was gonna make sure that everything went well, and that that you're there at your appointment time, and that you're home. He was gonna make sure that things went well. That's the vibe that I got from Diego. He was going to coordinate things. He was not going to just leave you hanging with anything. He's on top of it. The doctor, I was like, he seems kind of scared or something. But the other thing too was, I was like, you're only doing one plasmapheresis. You're only doing one 10-pass ozone. I've seen other clinics. I've seen reviews for other clinics and people that have Lyme disease. They're like, I had several plasmapheresis treatments and several ozone treatments. Like, it takes more than that. So I was like, I don't know. I feel like they're looking at this more as a cancer type of treatment. And those immunizations, those like injections, it's like an immunization type of thing. I believe those are also used for cancer. So I was like, I think they're doing a cancer type of approach with my condition, and I'm not going to be able to tolerate it. I'm not going to be able to tolerate it at all. So, I do think that they are geared more towards holistic cancer treatment or alternative cancer treatment, because I don't know. I was like, I mean, $30,000 is steep. Don't get me wrong, but I do think that it was priced appropriately for what you are getting. They have like other types of like innovative treatments that I've never heard of before. And Diego does try to sell you on it. He will explain it to you and he tries to sell you on it. Because when I told him, I was like, what's this for? And why is this so expensive? Why is this like this? And he does kind of try to sell you on it. But he also will leave you alone, because I think he does get the vibe. Like they do understand, like, not everybody has this money. So they're not going to waste their time trying to convince you to pay $30,000. One more thing right now that I mentioned that, and this goes for all of the clinics that I have reviewed. And I hesitate to talk about this because a lot of people, especially here in the United States, we have a lot of, we talk a lot about discrimination in medicine, and that kind of thing. But when you go to Mexico for these types of treatments, they are accustomed to seeing a certain type of patient over and over and over again. A majority of the patients that go to these clinics are white. A lot of them are Americans, but they also have a lot of Canadians that come to get these types of treatments. And you'll see that if you look on their Instagram, if you look at people who give, testimonials, it's always going to be some kind of wealthy white person. So a lot of times, I do have a very ethnic name. My real name is pretty ethnic. A lot of times I think these clinics, once they see, or they see your name or they see your face, they're kind of like, I don't know, right? They're accustomed to seeing a certain type of patient, and they know which types of patients have the money. I'm not saying that only white people have the money, but that's what they're accustomed to seeing. And also, I would say that, from what I've seen and from what these clinics have seen, the people that tend to believe more in alternative or holistic treatments tend to be white people. I'm not saying that there aren't Mexican people that receive these treatments. I have seen wealthy Mexican people leaving reviews for these clinics. But there is something, I feel that they can tell when a person has the money and when a person is willing to pay it, or they know who they can convince to pay that much money for a treatment. I know because I have been through it all. I know that that treatment was way too aggressive for me, but someone else, someone that has a lot of money and someone that just really believes in alternative treatments, they might just be like, oh, this is it. Like, this is the place to go. And I'm not that naive when it comes to these types of things. And I think they are accustomed to dealing with people who already believe in these treatments without even knowing that much about them. So, I'm not trying to make this into a race situation, but keep in mind these clinics are in Mexico, and the people that are traveling and paying all this money tend to be a certain color, and they're accustomed to that. And when they see someone that's a little bit different, or someone from their own country with their own background, there is this assumption that that person may not have as much money or may not be as willing. And Diego mentioned something during, I think after they had already given me all the information and the estimate, he said something, because he was sending me like voice messages through WhatsApp, which I thought was really funny, because I guess he was just trying to like, do his little sales thing. So he wasn't messaging, he was actually sending a voice message. And he said something about like, trying to kind of like relate to me, I guess. And he's like, my family might not believe in some of these treatments because they're just so new and so innovative. And it was interesting that he said that to me because, he's Mexican. And yes, a lot of people from our background, a lot of people from especially old school, older generations, they don't believe in that kind of stuff. It's nonsense to them. So it was interesting that he mentioned that. He was referring to a specific treatment that they offer there, and he's like, yeah, my family might look at it and be like, oh, I don't know what that is. He said, but it's just innovative. It's something that's very, very new. Not a lot of clinics are doing it, that kind of thing. So they are aware of the people that do believe in these types of therapies and the people that don't. And oftentimes the people that don't are their own people, Mexican people. And the people that do are typically, of different backgrounds. And you'll see that. You'll see that in the reviews. You'll see that in the patient testimonials. It's almost always a lot of white people. And, lots of Canadians, lots of Americans. So, I don't want to make it into race, but that's just something to be aware of. And I did notice that, in several of these clinics, that there might be a little bit of that bias. You might be treated differently if you are not a white person. So I would be very careful with that. So that's my review of, what is it called? The name is also really weird. It's called Immunotherapy Regenerative Medicine, which I think should be the other way around. Regenerative immunotherapy, but I don't know why. Their website is immunotherapymx.com. And like I said, if the treatment wasn't super aggressive, and maybe not as expensive, I would have loved to have gone there, because it seems like I feel like the service is top notch. If you're looking for incredible service, this place is probably the way to go. I would say it's probably worth every penny, because it seems like they're on top of it. So, yeah, and you have a consult with a doctor. But anyways, that's my review for this clinic. Thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned for my other reviews, and I will see you soon. Take care.